Hello.
Tysida.
Wait, I got something to say. Special guest, not only to myself, but to the universe. This person has done a lot of phenomenal things. And one thing I admire most about them is how they follow through and execute. I love also how they don't allow themselves to be put in a box.
Hmm.
And they are one of the most confident people I've ever met in my entire life. From the very jump, too.
Wow.
Yes. Truly embodies confidence. Give a wonderful, warm welcome to Luther Hughes. Yes. Luther, thank you so
Yes.
much for being here with us today. I would love for you to introduce yourself to the people and tell them a little bit about what you do.
Yeah. So like Tysida said, my name is Luther. My pronouns are they, them, heavy on the they, them because I am non-binary, period.
Period.
I do a number of things, but my main thing is being a writer. And so I write poetry. I'm dabbling in writing a novel right now. I've done some essays, articles, things like that. I'm also a editor. I love editing. So editing other people's manuscript, editing people's essays for college, editing people's everything. I have a big
Fire.
background, of course, in like other arts, like dancing, of course, acting, singing. But I'm not a singer. Wait. I feel like I said that
didn't
people
know
be
that
like,
one.
I was a choir boy when I was a boy. And so and so that was the thing that I have in my back pocket. But I do not actively sing
Period.
ever, unless it's a little lyric in the poem that I'd be
Take it
period.
there. Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I'm just all around creative. I think
You absolutely are.
I think I just love to be a part of anything creative. Behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, like I just love that energy.
Yes. And that's what I'm saying. That's what I admire. Like, you embody confidence. You like something, you're interested in something, you're curious about it, and you're going to take it there. And that is why I wanted you here for this conversation of not getting trapped in your plans.
Mm.
Especially because, too, like, you've already written a book.
Right.
Okay. And writing a book is a labor of self love.
Mm.
Right? Who's going to tell you to finish your book?
Right.
Like, I mean, someone is.
Well,
Somewhat so, right?
Yeah.
But really, honestly, you have to sit down. You have to take the time out. I remember, and then now you're writing a novel. But when you posted the sticky notes of you mapping, I was like, twin locked in.
You know what's so crazy? I feel like and that was for the novel, right? And so
Mhm.
I was like, I'm never going to do mapping. Like I found that process for writing a novel. I found it at first like, girl, I gotta do all that. I can just write the novel. And I was writing and writing and writing it, and I was like, why am I not mapping it? Like, what's stopping me from actually mapping it? That's part of the process of being a novelist and a writer.
Mhm.
Like, you have to map it out. So, like, why am I trying to go against that structure, that process? So I was like, let me map it out. And then, of course, mapping it out, I was like, oh, girl, you're not writing this novel correctly. Like, change this, move that around, do that. And so, like, I feel like because of that process, I'm now more excited to write the novel.
Right? But look how you didn't even get trapped in your plan
Right.
to not map.
Right.
That was what I'm saying. So we met through dance.
Mm-hmm.
And we met very young adolescents.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And like I'm saying, one thing I admire about you is that you don't let people box you in. And as bold as I feel at times, I can get caught up in people's perception of me
Mm-hmm.
and get caught up in people's expectations, whether they're spoken or they're just perceived.
Mm-hmm.
And when you decided to go to college, I actually was so surprised by you pursuing, like once you started poetry especially, and you were for real. And when I lived in LA, remember you took me to my first?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, Shorty's taking it. And you were he, him, them. So I was like, oh, he's
Yeah.
serious.
For sure, he's them.
I was like, he's really doing this. But I remember just like being like so curious. I'm like, how did they decide that that would be something they're interested in? Because we spent so many hours dedicated to dance. And dance is just dance, respectfully.
Respectfully.
But, right? And I think there's very few people in the dance world, especially when we were in it, that talked about anything besides dance. It's almost like
Yes.
unspoken. Like, you have other desires? No.
Yeah, honestly, like I been writing for a long time, even while we were dancing. But nobody knew that. Like, I was just behind the scenes doing it. You know, my close friends knew I was writing, but I don't even remember why I really sought out dance in the way that I did when we were growing up. Like, loved to dance growing up. But I think when I saw the team, I was like, oh, I can do that. Like, I want to do that so bad. And I feel like it wasn't necessarily dance. It was just like the passion, dedication for it that really drew me to the company and the team. And so I feel like that's why I was so eager to be a part of the team, because it was like I could see y'all really working for this. And I understood that mentality and wanted that discipline. And because, you know, like growing up, like writing poetry, writing in general, there's no like actual, there is now, but growing up, I couldn't find ways to have that discipline or have it be taught to me. And so I got that discipline through the dance team and applied it to poetry, right? And so like when I stopped dancing, to be a poet full time or be a poet, you know, career wise, I was like, oh, I already have the skill to be disciplined. I don't need to find discipline, because even in classes, I'd be like, girl, why aren't you writing every day? What's going on? You don't want to write every day? You're not hungry for this? I've experienced hunger for a thing. And so when I got to those places, I felt really shocked that nobody was thirsting for it the way I have thirsted for something.
Yeah. But I think, wow, you saying, right, you pursued the dance team to be a part of the team versus like, I want to dance.
Yeah.
You really got the thing you needed out of it, which was the discipline. Because I think people do want for things really badly, and that is all. I'm just a yearner.
Right. And I think that's fine too. I feel like, you know, as a water sign, as a Cancer, Scorpio moon and rising.
Scorpio moon and rising?
Listen, my whole life is to yearn and desire.
Waters,
right.
The
And so
trenches.
it's like I sometimes do desire just to desire, right? And I think that's fine for me to do so, because at the end of the day, that's part of who I am.
Relate.
Right. And so like I don't need to really desire with an actual end result, because my other life has end results. So I can just want, because I know the things in my life I can want to find something. So when I want something, right, it's like, oh girl, you just want this. And I'm okay with that. Because in my poetry life, I can have results. In my romance life, I can have results. In my friendship, I can have results. So when I want, I don't need results there. I can just live, you know? I love to just live.
You gagged me. You gagged me. I can want because I can have results in other parts of my life.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like, why not?
Wow.
Please?
Damn. Logical Libra does not want to participate.
That's real.
That is so good.
Oh, snap.
No, for real. Because that's also how you don't get trapped in your plans.
Yeah.
Bar for bar, this is insane. I knew you would be so good for this topic, but you are blowing my mind.
Stop it.
No, I'm dead ass. Because that's how you don't get trapped in your plan, right?
Right. And I feel like the idea of even having a plan, you know, like, of course we all want plans, right? We all want a pathway forward. We all want to, you know, be told how to get there, when to get there, and, you know, what it takes to get there. And for the longest time, I was just like trying to find, like, say, a mentor, or trying to find somebody to tell me what to do and how to do it. And I may have found, you know, one or two people who mentored me in a way, but they never gave me an actual path. And so it's up to me to figure out, like, okay, if I want to do this, how can I do it as in a healthy manner and still go for what I want and get what I want? And what I want can change too, right? You know, like,
say that one more time, please.
Yes, what I want can change, and also it should change. Like, as a human being, like, I should want different things from season to season, because we evolve daily, but for sure season to season. And so, like, why am I still stuck on the same path of wanting the same thing when it's been 3 years? Like, that's crazy.
Be like water, like Bruce Lee says.
Be like water.
Be like water.
Yeah, who said that?
Bruce Lee.
Really?
Yes. Let's pull the quote.
Wow.
It's one of my faves.
I thought you were going to say Tyler at first. She has that water song.
Be formless, shapeless, like water. If you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, and it becomes the bottle. You put water in a teapot, or you put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow, or it can crash. Be like water, my friend.
Oh, that's dope.
Right? But that's, like, really honestly, like, the art of surrender.
Yeah.
What you're talking about, though, like, your plans can and should change. Damn, because sometimes you work towards something for so long, and you'll feel like, I'm not really seeing anything.
Right.
Like, but I still want this thing, I think. Or I think I should still want it until I get it.
Right. Mind you, so, like, book was published, you know, 2022. And for a good year, it's been like a year and a half since it came out, I was like, am I done with poetry? Like, I got the thing that I'm supposed to do, right? I wanted the thing, right? And I was like, maybe I'm done with poetry. Like, maybe I will never write another book ever again. And I felt like I was fine with that. Like, I felt like I could have my one-hit wonder and be cool.
Yeah.
Right?
Because it's a smash.
Oh, thank you.
I love it.
And I can explore other things. Like, I can explore other loves in my life or find other loves in my life. And so, for the longest time, I was like, y'all, I'm a poet. No more. It's been so great, y'all. Have a good time. It's been fun. You know, that was good to go.
Yeah.
But of course, when you have a passion for something always pops back up somehow. And so what I needed was just rest, actually, from poetry. Actually, like not writing it, reading it every once in a while, talking about it, sure, but I just needed to rest. Like, I've been wanting this thing for so long, and sometimes achieving a goal is tiring. And so I was like,
as a woman
let me
labor,
listen. Actual labor.
Actual did that thing,
actual
honey.
Labor.
They put that baby on my chest. And said, please. Enough.
And already attached. I just met you.
Twin, give me a second.
Like, please.
It was crazy. It was not talking.
I think they'd be lying.
I think, but performing more than lying.
Okay, performing.
I'm an entertainer, but I'm probably not a performer.
Ooh, I like that.
Talk your shit, twin.
I like that.
Yeah.
How do you what's the difference?
Entertainment, I am a good time. It looks like a phenomenal time. Am I going to act like I'm having a good time? No. But like when I'm on stage, when I've performed, I am genuinely having a good time. So I'm entertaining the crowd.
Right.
I am in it. That dance is my dance. That song is my story. The whole theme, the like storytelling we're doing through this performance, is my truth right now.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah.
Am I acting like it's my truth? Probably not. I've embodied the essence of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take that.
Taking it, cause you already do it.
I think I do too. Yeah.
Yeah, we've done dancicles.
Yes.
So we know, we like really become the thing.
Yeah, like, and
we
it was
wear
fun.
those characters
down, actually.
Good times. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that is that. But because I was gonna say, how are you so? Like, your art of surrender is so natural.
You know, I never thought about this, so I'm going to be talking just like off the cuff. So give it, it's given draft form.
Period.
Writer. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, it's giving draft.
Take that.
Yeah,
that's for you.
T.
Okay, but no, seriously. And so what I'm thinking about, what does it mean to surrender, or the art of surrender? I think of several things. I think one, being raised by a Black woman, right, and how she had to surrender to circumstances, right, and had to kind of go with the flow. And my mom, so like watching her do that and watching her be so serious about surrendering to something, taught me then that surrender is a form of some kind of care. I don't know what the care is, but allowing yourself to surrender to something, the circumstance, the time, whatever's happening, allows you to be free from that and therefore take that power back. And so I think the way she did it, whether behind closed doors or in front of me, that tells me that, sometimes surrendering is powerful, right? And of course, she was a Christian devout woman. And so the idea of surrendering to God.
I know, I gave her the blues.
Right? Like that whole thing was like, surrendering to something you may not know was going to happen gives you then the power to just kind of do, right? And so I think that taught me something about what surrendering can do. I may not always get it or even like it, right? But I think because I was taught that by witnessing, right, by her doing, I have that instilled in me.
Damn, examples. Like, as a parent myself, I have to remind myself all the time, more is caught than taught.
Yes.
You feel me?
Right.
So you witnessing it, you living the results of it inevitably allows you to become who you are.
Right.
Damn. And I know that even goes to like Black generational conversations. A lot of times people act like, why does it even matter?
Right. And it does matter. It does matter.
Right. In these conversations, I've definitely been blessed Altino shade to be around people who admire their parents, especially Black people who admire their parents. And honestly, the thread of it is more is caught than taught.
We got away from the idea of hearing their stories.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think growing up, our parents and before them, they know their story just by, I guess, by happenstance, proximity. And so for me, like, I don't know her life before me. I get glimpses of it through my like aunts and uncles when they tell me. But other than that, I don't have that access to anything before me, really. And so when thinking about this idea of, like, you know, admiring and honoring the Black parent then becomes sort of on a pedestal in a way where it's like I see you as this person who is above something, and I don't see much of, you know, things before that. And so, you know, I feel like your history can also create the flaws you have.
Absolutely.
And so because I don't know her before me, her flaws seem less important, right? She seems so reverent in that way. And so whenever she did something, I was like, oh, I have to be like her. I do that too. And so it's funny that you're talking about, like, you know, how you're talking this conversation, how it's about like honoring and admiring the parent. It's also an interesting way to think about it, because do we all have that thing where we talked about our parents and their history? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
We all had that or had that. But from friend to friend, convo to convo, I see that as a missing element in a lot of our like upbringing and like generational conversation that we don't happen to have.
Yeah. I think both of our parents, I've definitely wanted to know more. I wanted to know how you experienced life, how you saw life. Because also too, I feel like our generation has this more out loud idea of intention, which is again why I want to have these conversations on Tysida Talks.
Right.
Because you can want something really, really bad. You can want it so much so. And then goes back to, right, you're wanting something for years on end.
Right.
And when does your want change, right? And when are you able to pivot from realizing wanting this thing is keeping me stagnant? I'm missing a piece of it. There's more that I need to work on for myself. And not getting trapped in your plan of, I should be able to do this already. I should be all right.
Right.
And then when you miss the part of storytelling, when you miss out on who, you know, what makes me who I am, you know, versus like just witnessing behavior, because sometimes we are just doing something off the muscle, but the reason that the person that we watch do it, the reason they did it was so different. You know, and that is so important to me, is to not just like base character off behavior, but also know someone's heart posture. So I feel that.
No, that's true. I know I have or had or I'm working on the act of judgment based off of behavior. And it's because, you know, I'm a cancer, so everything is personal to me, right? Every little move, you take a sip of my water, I'm like, girl, what's going on? You like, didn't offer me a candy. I'm like, so we're beefing. Okay. What did I do wrong for you to do that to me? And so I have a tendency to watch and to react to any small thing and place judgment on that person and their behavior. And so I'm trying to rectify that somehow, while also realizing that I have a strong intuition too, right? So like I can recognize something that's happening and be like, something's wrong and here's why it's wrong off of one little thing. But sometimes it gets muddied, right? And sometimes I allow myself to lead with emotion more than leading with logic. And unfortunately sometimes that puts me in a very uncomfortable situation. And it can also mess up how I think about talking to people, collabing with them, building paths with them, building community with them, because I'm like, you were horrible, and here's why you were horrible, and it might seem minor to you, but because I'm judging you, I've already placed the title on what you've done. Fear of something, fear of being judged, fear of being perceived wrong, fear of not being perfect, all these fears that I didn't think to call them fears until they were like, that's called fear. Like you're scared of something, right?
Yeah.
And I think that is correct. I think a lot of the times I rely on my intuition as fact and then put up that wall or put away people because I'm scared to witness what might happen if something happens outside of what I thought would happen, right? So like I want things to happen how I think them.
Control.
That's
so interesting that you want to control, but like you have such flow with
Right.
like in other areas.
Yeah.
Do you trust yourself more than you trust others?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Definitely. But also like that, I've known myself for all my life, right? And so I've worked with myself and figured out how I can be in a way where it's comfortable for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know people all their lives. You know, I know them some of their time or what they give me. And so sometimes I'm thinking like, okay, you're giving me this, but it feels a little weird. How do I take that? I don't want to take it. Actually, I'm going to go back to myself because I know how I am.
Yeah.
And so it's really trying to figure out fear and why I have this fear. And sometimes, you know, I try to apply my not fear in my life, like, you know, through arts, through these other things, and apply it to, you know, people fear, right? And there's a disconnect because I know how to tackle and be disciplined when it comes to my passion, my arts, my journey. I can apply those same disciplines to people because I can't control people, right? And so it's trying to figure out how to exist both ways in a comfortable way without not without fear, because fear is an important part of being human. Like fear does allow you to have, you know, caution or red flags, right?
Yeah.
But allowing the fear to do that and not do the actual detrimental thing of like people.
I believe in like community therapy. So just spending time with people. That's why I love this, to have these conversations. I think we do a really great deal of healing through conversation. But I also think a lot of people don't have, or sometimes we have people in the groups that don't want to have the conversations.
Yeah.
And they really put a stink on it. But it's important because there's something to be said from someone else's life experience that can just be such a like butterfly effect for yourself. You know, I think I did a lot of healing through community healing when I first indulged in healing.
I like that.
Yeah,
actually.
And that's why like, you know, that's why I'm like, these are the conversations somebody needs to overhear. You know, because that is so interesting. And I don't even have any. Yeah. I don't have any tea because I feel like mine is the opposite. I used to trust people more than I trusted myself.
Do you feel that way still?
No, I feel very safe. Very safe within myself. And I also spent like the past year really slowing down to witness how I betray myself.
Ooh, say more about betraying yourself. Yeah.
I can know better and not do better. I can feel a thing and not move on it. I can shrink for others. I can apologize for other people's feelings. I literally can tell myself, because you can handle it. I like, in the way that you know yourself, I know my capacity for pain and suffering. And it is very deep. And so I can betray myself. And so just slowing down to watch, because sometimes once my own betrayal of myself has hit ahead, I'm devastated. And it can create calamities. And I cannot afford those more than ever, especially as a parent. I'm like, I cannot afford that. But I believe that like I cannot hear my own self if I'm at a party. So when there's too much around me, I cannot slow down to witness, to separate my shit from somebody else's shit. And then that's when, and then I carry, and again, my capacity for pain and suffering is so heavy. I can carry a very heavy load. And then I can get to a moment and realize that was never mine to carry. You know? And then also slowing down, even recently having an experience where I was like, I'm not sad about the moment, but I'm sad because it triggered a feeling that I've carried for a long time. But my brain was willing to tell me a story that was in alignment with a very, very sad feeling. And so I was like, I'm not avoiding being sad because I'm uncomfortable with sadness. I'm avoiding being sad because my brain would play tricks on me. and I just can't. For one, I can't afford it, and for two, don't as- I don't aspire to call that energy into my world.
Right.
It's not the truth.
Have you like made space for intentional pain and suffering? Like when it happens, like when you feel the thing about to happen and you're like, you know what, no, not that. Let's focus on the other thing.
Mm-hmm.
Then have you made space for yourself to feel the pain and suffering afterwards?
Yes, I definitely. So I have like delayed processing.
Okay.
So something can come up.
Okay.
Like I can experience something and I'm like, okay. And then I sit still and I'm like, actually. And so, and then like, but I needed to be slow. Like I needed to be slow so that I can make space for it, but not make harm to myself. It's a journey, and then I also like realizing like to make space for it, I do need to feel safe, so I can recognize, so that's where the slowness comes in.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, feelings are showing up, and then I'm like, look around, maybe not now, but I definitely. Definitely. And then that also helps me to make informed decisions about spaces, relationships, circumstances, environments, jobs, whatever I put myself in. Because I am my best version of myself when I'm feeling.
When you're feeling?
Yeah.
Just period.
Yeah. Like
I love that. Okay.
Yeah, when I'm allowing myself to feel the things and not just because I'm so logical. My brain works in patterns, But when I allow, which is like also why I admire you so much, because I feel like you do lead with your intuition, and your intuition also allows you to follow through. So I want to allow myself to make it to the finish line safely. Yeah.
That's real. I feel like a lot of people, most of maybe at one point in my life too, like will allow anything to get to the finish line. They will allow the hurt, the pain, like the brokenness, because there's something people love about getting the result through trauma and tribulation.
Romanticizing suffering.
It's like why are you poeticizing the fact that you are in pain? Like, that's not cute.
It's really not.
And
I had
also
to stop doing that.
It's the thing is, it sounds cute. Like it sounds cute if you don't know the actual pain that happens during it.
Yeah.
I would never like. I feel like I've told a lot of poets like, "Yo, like, let's write about happiness. Like, you don't have to always talk about the trauma in your poem. Like, where's the light at?
Like, you don't have to get to the finish line through suffering
at all."
This was beautiful. I feel like gems on gems on gems. You're a gem.
You're a gem.
No, you are truly a gem.
Oh, I appreciate you.
The universe is so blessed. Like, those of us who experience you in this lifetime, truly, like, game changer. But thank you so much.
Thank you. I enjoyed you.
I'm doing that.
Tysida Talks.
Get into it.
Get into it.
Okay. That's a wrap, guys.
That's already.
That was fucking good. You blew my mind.
Oh my gosh. That was amazing.
That was so fucking good.